Hi, it's me, Daphne, and welcome to my channel. Today I am doing a collaboration for the makeup tag. So for this tag, I'm gonna be taking you through the steps of my makeup routine and answering bookish questions that kind of relate to the step that we're on. So you'll see as I go through the questions. I'm gonna be putting a link to a playlist where all of our videos will be stored. So everybody's makeup level is different, so it should be fun and entertaining, and we'll get some different kind of looks out of it. So I hope you enjoy. Let's jump into my version of the tag with the first question. So the first step is primer. Pick a book that left a lasting impression on you. So I don't use a traditional primer, but I'm going to prime my lips with this Blistex lip balm. Gotta make sure my lips are nice and moisturized. I always make sure to have moisturized lips because I'm prone to chapped lips. This is always mandatory for me. So that's my primer. For a book that's left a lasting impression on me, I've picked Lord of the Flies. This feels like a classic book in my mind. I don't know if it officially is, but I had to read this in high school and I just thought about it for years, and then I reread it again as an adult a couple years ago, and just seeing this story from those two perspectives was really impactful, and how like innocent and how quickly things devolve into chaos with these young boys living, trying to survive on this island, making their own little society, and just like the violence. And this book definitely left a lasting impression on me. I will probably continue to reread it over the years. The next step is foundation. Pick your favorite first book in a series. So for foundation, I don't like using foundation because like I feel like it seeps into my laugh lines and it just makes me look worse than just having no foundation. So I'm going to tell you about the lotions I use. I love the brand CeraVe. This is just their daily moisturizing lotion, and I usually use CeraVe's sunscreen, but currently I have this different sunscreen, so I'm gonna put those on. I like to mix a little bit of each because I feel like it just makes the sunscreen apply better. Definitely get it down my neck. The sun is the first thing that's gonna damage you and age you. So I always ensure I put sunscreen on. And if you're not putting sunscreen on your face, I would recommend that you do. Every day. I don't care if it's winter. I don't care if you're not on vacation. And then the book selection for my favorite first book in a series is gonna be The Dragon's Bride.
Pause. I have no idea why I didn't say Jade City for this, because that was a 5-star amazing read. I think when I was like quickly looking through books to pick for this tag, it didn't even occur to me. Like I was scrolling and I just didn't see it. But that is a much better selection for a favorite book that starts off a series. Jade City. But I also do enjoy The Dragon's Bride, so we can talk about that also.
Now, is this a work of like art masterpiece? Is this the best written work of fiction? No. Is it really fun? Is it the first book in a series? Yes, it is. And I kind of talk about this book a lot. And I was very tempted to buy a physical copy when I went to the Ripped Bodice the other weekend, but alas, I still don't physically own it, but I might change that. It's just so fun. This is a monster romance with a dragon humanoid creature and a human woman. He's trying to seduce her because he needs an heir to his throne. And the way the magic works in this world is if you mix the bloodline with humans, the magic increases. So he is trying to save his community and have an heir with a human. And it's their romance, and it's just really fun. Everything is very consensual and sweet and obviously sexy, and I love it. The next step is concealer. Pick a character you wish you could get rid of. I, again, don't use creamy products on my face like that, so I don't use concealer. I mean, my face isn't perfect. I have like spots from like acne and stuff like that, but like, we don't have to be perfect, you know, and I don't feel the need to use concealer, so I don't have any in my collection. But let me tell you about the character I would love to get rid of. At first, this was a little challenging to answer because I feel like antagonists are very crucial to a story's plot. Like, I wouldn't get rid of the villain necessarily because like they make the story a story. It makes the story worth telling, and you know, you need to see somebody's struggle, otherwise it's like, what's the point? With that in mind, like I wouldn't necessarily get rid of this character because they add to the story and they add to the intensity, but because this person is a piece of shit, You know, if this was a real person, I would definitely like wish them to like poof disappear. And that person is Caleb, who is Iris's abusive boyfriend in The Long Shot. So yeah, I mean, if you read that book, it is very scary. There's a lot of trigger warnings, and a lot of that horror and abuse and scariness comes from this character, Caleb. So we don't need him. Let's get him out of our lives. You know, he's trash. Bye-bye. Next step is powder. Pick your favorite last book in a series. So I do have a powder. I currently have this Fenty Beauty powder. Clearly you can see I've used it, but I don't like use it when I'm just doing my everyday. Sometimes I'll put it on if I feel like I want a little extra coverage. We can put a little bit on today. I have my kabuki brush, I think that's what you call it. I'd say 97% of the time I do not put on powder, but for the sake of this tag, I will. And my book selection for this is Death from the Four Horsemen's trilogy. That is the last installment in that series, and it is my favorite one. This was such an easy pick. He's a horseman, so he's basically ending the world, and everywhere he goes, like, people just die. They just like drop dead. He doesn't even have to do anything. They just drop dead. And he's got all these like beautiful, like glowing tattoos, and he's got like angel wings. He's like black angel wings. I just love that story. I felt like that series, the formula was kind of the same, had like the same beats for the first three, even though they were still fun, but like Death mixed it up. Our heroine can't die for whatever reason. Like Death has tried to kill her a couple times, or like she's died by accident, but she just keeps coming back to life. So she's like the perfect opposite to Death. And it's their love story, and it was just really fun and interesting, and it just wrapped up the whole series fairly well. I loved seeing Death fall in love with our main character and him like learn how to be human, because usually he's just an idea, and now he's got like this physical form. And yeah, that series is pretty fun. And that was my favorite book for sure. Next, we have Contour. What book surprised you with how much depth it had? This makeup is a little bit dirty because I actually use this one a lot. It's this brand called Lawless. I've never really heard about it, but I got it at Sephora. And I pair it with this angled brush from Technique that is like super old. And I just go in on my cheeks like this. This is kind of fun to like show you how I do my makeup. I used to do makeup videos like a long time ago, but I was not an expert. So I'll do my cheeks like this, and then I go under my jaw, give it some definition. And then I'll blend it out, but I don't usually blend it out until I get to the blush section, so we'll wait to do that. So for this question, with which book surprised me with how much depth it had, I'm gonna go with this book called Power Play. I got this book for free off one of the Kindle Stuff Your Day events. I just thought it was gonna be like a short little novella, a little smutty fun time, but it actually had way more depth than I expected. Both of these characters are really used to being in charge, being like the dominant person in a relationship. They are working together in this like marketing firm, and they have this one night stand kind of situation while they're out at a bar, and then the female main character ends up being the new hire at his office. But she's not like a receptionist, she's not like a secretary, she is his equal, and they butt heads. But they're still really attracted to each other, but she wants to dominate him and he wants to dominate her. Not in like a weird like 50 Shades of Grey way, but just like, who's in charge? You know what I mean, kind of way. So it was really fun, and just seeing them make concessions, is that the word? Just like being more understanding towards each other and like giving in a little bit because they want to make the other person happy, and just like having a more balanced relationship with that power and being like, okay, I'll give you the power this time, but like I want it next time, but like make it sexy, and them just like opening up emotionally. Like it had way more depth than I was anticipating. It was really surprising and fun, and I ended up giving it 4 stars, which is very solid for a book I expected almost nothing from. The next step is blush. Pick a book that had some cringe-worthy romance. So this is the blush I've been using. It's from Sephora in the color Hey Jealousy. It is like extremely, extremely pigmented pink, super, super pink, because I'm a dark-skinned woman. I mean, I'm not like super dark, but I love how pigmented it is to contrast against my skin tone. So I like to obviously go on my cheeks, and this is gonna be heavy-handed, but I blend it out, don't worry. Apples of my cheeks kind of go up the side of my face, and then I really like the sunburned kind of tan look. So I'll go over the bridge of my nose like this, and then wherever like the sun would theoretically hit me, so I go like my forehead, sometimes I'll do like a little bit of my chin. And then this is when I blend everything out because obviously I look a little cray-cray. So then I grab my kabuki brush again and I just blend it out, which diffuses the color and it makes it a little more subtle and a little more natural looking. I just look really flushed and vibrant in my opinion and healthy. Maybe I'll dab back on the cheeks a little bit to get that color a little bit back in certain spots that I want. And then my book selection for this is Q-Teen 84. This is a massive Japanese magical realism type book, but there is a romance in it. And I just thought it was so cringy, like not in a good way. Like I gave this book 2 stars. It's like way too long. It's not like focused on the romance, but there is a romance in it. And like, I just didn't understand why they were in love with each other. Like they knew each other when they were kids for like a moment, like a brief moment in time. And then they're so obsessed with each other as adults, but like they don't even know where the other person is in real life. Like they've never seen each other ever again, but they like always think about each other. And maybe that sounds romantic, but it's just really weird. And then they like finally meet up, I guess. Spoiler alert, and like, I just thought it was very strange, and just like all the sexual things that happen in this book just are like, ugh. Like even with other characters, I just did not like it. Moving on. Okay, the next step is highlighter. Pick a book that brightened your day. I used to have a highlighter, which happened to be cream, even though I told you I didn't like cream, but I ran out, so I think I'm just gonna use a eyeshadow to get the job done. I'm just gonna pick this really light one. This thing also looks a mess. I'm so sorry, I've had it forever. This is by Natasha Denora. It's the mini sunset palette. Let's just like go like this for giggles, okay? I would not normally do this, but for the video, you know, that's kind of cute. So for the book that brightened my day, I'm gonna pick Sweat and Soap manga series. This one is so freaking cute and it's so quick to read. You could read it in like obviously a day. This is just a story of a woman that works at like a soap kind of company. He is a like scent connoisseur, like he makes the product lines with the scents and everything, and she works in finance. She loves like the products they make because she is very sweaty, so she's just like, she has all the products. And one day he comes across her, smells her, thinks she smells like the best thing in the world, and he makes her his muse, and it's just so freaking adorable and cute. I love it. And it will definitely brighten your day. Next up is Eyebrows, a book that you think everyone should read. This is hilarious. Does this mean that like everybody should have eyebrows? No shade on the people without eyebrows, but this is the question. So for eyebrows, I'm currently using just like a Maybelline eyebrow pencil. It has like a spoolie on the end and then like the like crayon bit at the end. I don't know what my hands are doing. And then I sometimes will use this like eyebrow mascara, which is another Maybelline one. It's called Brow Fast Sculpt. So I like to spoolie my eyebrows. I definitely need to pluck my eyebrows. They're a little unruly right now. Fill these bad boys in so they're less sparse. And I like my eyebrows to be more like angular. So I add a nice angle at the top corner right here, like that. I don't think it really matters how my technique is because you're just here for book stuff. Fill in the end and get that nice little angle. And then because sometimes I feel like it's harsh, I go back in with the spoolie and make sure I like kind of soften up the color, blend it out. Then if I'm feeling fancy, I'll go in with this, but usually like when I'm going quickly, I skip it. This is pretty much just like a mascara for your eyebrows with the spoolie. Go in the light hand and it will like kind of keep your brow hairs in the position that you like. So the book I've selected for something I think everyone should read is, of course, Anxious People. This is probably one of my, well, it is definitely one of my all-time favorite books. This is by a Swedish author. The synopsis is, a bank robbery goes wrong and turns into a hostage situation. But this is really a book that is funny and hilarious and more of a character study on these silly, intertwined characters. They're just like over the top, exaggerated caricatures of people, and the way it's written is so fun. The author makes you feel like you're kind of like in the story, like he kind of makes you feel stupid at the same time, and just like There was this reveal at the end that really blew my mind and I laughed so much, and I absolutely love this book and I can't wait to read it again one day. But I kind of want to let the details fade further and further. I will never forget the twist or like the reveal, but I'm sure it will still be really, really fun. Definitely go into this 100% blind. Don't look up anything about it besides what I told you, okay? The next step is eyeshadow. Pick a book that has your favorite colors on the cover. So, for eyeshadow today, I'm going back to this palette, and I figure we do something fun, and I'm gonna do the pink color. I've done this before. My go-to is usually like this soft golden color, but I do like the pink, and I always use this like brown to give me dimension in my eyes. So let me show you how I go about doing that. So I'm taking this brown one. We're gonna add dimension in first. I have hooded eyes, so it took me a while to kind of figure out what I like. I feel like when it comes to eyeshadow, it's very unique for each person because so many eye shapes, there are like so many different eye shapes out there. Some eye looks that I really like that I see on other people, like I just can't really successfully do because of the way my eyes are hooded. Okay, so this is what I mean by hooded. Like this crease here is very low down. Like you can't see much of my eyelid. It doesn't matter. Just look it up if you don't know. Then I'll go in with the pink. And I'm just going to tap that on, try to get as much color on there as I can, concentrating on the eyelid. And then sometimes I'll like kind of smoke out the color underneath a little bit. And then I'll go back in with the brown again because the pink takes over a little bit of that depth. So go back into the crease and then I'll even soften out with my finger. And I don't want it to be all the way up to my eyebrow, so definitely still have that little bit of separation. And then I feel like it really ties in once I get to eyeliner. Putting on makeup is a process, you know? We're not at the end result yet. So then for a book in my favorite color, right now I am loving blue. I love wearing blue. I think it looks flattering. My nails are blue. I have 3 books that are blue and I just love them. I just love that they're blue. So I have Things We Never Got Over, which is a romance. I have Forever Never, which is like a taboo romance. And then I have Archer's Voice, which is like a romance with someone that doesn't speak. I don't know if he's mute and deaf or if he's just deaf and doesn't speak that often. But I heard great things about all these books and they're all blue and I love having them on my shelves right next to each other, living their best blue life. It makes me so happy. Now let's get into eyeliner. This is probably my favorite part of the entire process. It's taken me some time to figure out the perfect flick, the perfect cat eye angle that I think flatters my eye shape. Again, this is gonna vary a lot from person to person. Some just depends on like the tilt of your eye. For me, it really depends on like where my folds are in my hooded eye shape. So I really enjoy using eyeliner like this. It's a little pot and it has, you know, liquid in it, and this one is a CoverGirl product. It's called Perfect Point Plus Liquid Liner, and it's sharp like this. For me, I've been just lining it halfway down my eyelid because I don't have that much eyelid space, and I keep it really thin towards the middle, and it can get a little thicker towards the end. And then for the flick, I turn it this way. Okay, and then I will bring it together. And I make sure it's under my eyelid fold. So see how it's under my crease? Because otherwise it gets all wonky if I do it over the line. So if you have a crease like me, I would recommend flicking it under your crease. Otherwise you're like fighting, you have too many, I don't know, competing lines and angles. So I think if you do it under, it looks really nice. This is more of like what they're calling like a puppy dog eye, I think right now. So it's more like a little bit more downturned and softer, and it's not as like sharp angled up. You know what I mean? Because if I were to go follow this way, it would cross over and kind of make an X. So yeah, I think this is really flattering. All right, so that is my eyeliner completed. Like, look how close the eyeliner is to the fold. Like, you almost lose all of the pink on my eyelid. Like, look how much pink, but like it disappears. It's gone. It's like a surprise when I blink, you know? Okay, back to bookish talking. So for eyeliner, you're supposed to pick a dark and mysterious book, and for this, I've selected Manacled, which is like a fanfic of Harry Potter mixed in with The Handmaid's Tale, I think it's called. And it's Hermione Draco. Is that his name? Fanfic. I have not read this yet, but I'm very excited to give it a try. Originally, I didn't think I'd have access to it, but I've been seeing people reading it on their Kindle somehow. So I did a little research and downloaded it for free onto my Kindle because it's not like traditionally published or anything. And I'm very intrigued. I saw Jessica from Peace Love Books recently post a vlog about it and like a reel about it. And she's like, this is what I look like before reading Manacled. And then she's like, this is what I look like after. And she's like bawling her eyes out. And that pretty much sold me on the book. I was like, I need to know what happened in this book that made her cry so hard. And apparently it's like changing people's lives. Maybe like scarring them a little bit, but I'm so intrigued. Maybe we can do this as like a traumatic buddy read book club thing down the line. That would be fun. Who would want to read that for a book club? Do we want to traumatize ourselves together? But like it could be fun because it's like also Harry Potter, but we'll see. Let me know. So we're almost done with the makeup look. Next we have mascara. Pick a long book. So the mascara that I'm using is this one by Maybelline. It's called the Falsies Push-Up Drama. I really like this line that they have. It looks like this. I would really recommend it. They have a purple version of this too, which the applicator tip is different, but I really, really enjoy this because it's more of a silicone brush. I feel like it just combs through better than like these wiry ones that are just like clumpy and stuff. I really, really like this. It's this product line is a couple years old, but I like always get this one. Like forget everything else. Like I've even had like Better Than Sex mascara, which is also really good, but like this is drugstore makeup and I love it. I really like to make sure obviously it's coated in there. Give it a little wiggle. And for me, I don't love a clumpy look, so I like to make sure all the hairs are brushed out and separated as well as possible. And then because this has been used on my upper lashes and it's not that much product left on it, then I go into my bottom lashes and just give it a little wiggle and a tug to lightly coat them with mascara as well. So that's my eyelashes both covered in mascara, and I'm just gonna clean up the little bit of errors that I made that got on my eyelids. Just go in with a dry Q-tip and wipe those away. Okay, nice. Whoops, didn't mean to sound full of myself. I'm like, oh yeah, I look good. Okay, for the long book, I've picked Outlander. This book is like over 800 pages. I think it's like 850. This is like a historical time traveling romance where this woman from, I don't know, still a historic time, I believe, is transported back way in time to Ireland and she meets this guy, but I think she was like, maybe she was married in her normal timeline or had a fiance, and then she's like falling in love with this guy in the past, blah, blah, blah. I don't know too much about it besides that, but I know this is kind of like a cult classic book where people are obsessed with this series. I also don't even know if the series is done, but there are a lot of books in it, probably at least like 6 right now. And they have a show on like HBO or something. But I don't want to watch the show until I read the book. And then the last step is lipstick, your favorite book, Kiss. And I'm so excited to tell you about my favorite book, Kiss. But first, let me put on some lipstick. So I have this Maybelline lipstick in the color Rum Rich 280. And my friend Shireen helps me pick this color because I always had a hard time picking lipstick colors because naturally my upper lip is brown and my bottom lip is pink. This tends to be the case with a lot of women of my complexion. Your lip colors aren't the same, so it's like, okay, which color looks good on me? And I'm still working on it. I actually saw a makeup video recently by a black woman, and she would do like a pink-ish color on the inside and then do like darker brown lip liner and kind of fade that in, and I was like, ooh, I should try that. But I'm not at that level. I haven't bought those products. But I do like this shade of pink, especially when I do a pink eyeshadow. So yeah, let's put this on. Sometimes I think this looks a little too pink when I'm tan, but summer is ending and my tan is fading. Very light-handed. All right, so the book Kiss that I wanted to talk to you about is from Heartless. If you haven't read this book, definitely recommend it. It's the second book in a series. It's like Canadian small town cowboy style romances, and they're really fun. This second book was absolutely amazing. The banter is so good. So the premise is there's this man who has a young son. I think his son's maybe like 5, and he needs a new nanny to help him with his son. He's very busy like doing farm work. Like he's like a rancher. And the nanny he was using is getting older in years, and she's just tired. She just wants to retire. So he knows this woman who, from the first book, is with his brother, whatever. She recommends her really good friend because her friend is like pretty well off. Like she doesn't have like a regular job or anything. She loves riding horses, but her horse is like out of commission, can't compete or whatever like she normally would at that time. So she's just like looking for something to do, like this friend. So his name's Kate and her name's Willa. So Willa agrees to be his nanny, and he is just like grumpy to her sunshine. And they have this moment against a hay bale when they kiss, and he's like been out of the game for a while. Like he's not been dating or anything, but he's really attracted to her, and he just gets a little too excited and he's a little embarrassed, and he like runs off after the fact. And I just love that. I like think about that pretty often. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, read it to find out, because it's super cute and charming to see this grumpy guy like overcome by this woman just from kissing her. Like, I love that. All right, so that's the end of this makeup tag. Here is my completed look. And again, I like leave some of my imperfections. I'm not trying to cover up like all my acne marks and stuff. I am a human being. You know what I mean? So I try to keep it like pretty minimal and natural, but like also playful and fun. Again, if you want to watch the other creators that did this tag, I have the playlist linked in my description. If you enjoyed my version of this tag, please leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it. Obviously, it helps out my channel. And that's all I have for you today. So I will catch you in another video. Bye.